It is a day like any other. The sun rises over a world ruled by giants. In the forests, ferns stretch taller than houses. Rivers carve their way through landscapes untouched by roads or cities. The air hums with the calls of creatures whose names we would struggle to pronounce. For over 150 million years, this has been their world, the dinosaurs' world. And in a few hours, it will all be gone. This is not a story about slow decline. This is not about climate change or fading away. This is about the day the sky fell. A day of fire, darkness, and a silence that would last for millennia. This is the story of the last day of the dinosaurs, and the message their end holds for us, floating on a pale blue dot in the very same cosmos that once sent them a killer. It begins in silence, in the absolute perfect silence of space. A rock, just a rock, one of countless millions tumbling through the void. For billions of years, it has traveled an endless looping path around a star. But gravity is a patient sculptor. A gentle nudge from Jupiter, a slight tug from Mars, and its path bends, slowly, inevitably. It begins to fall. It is not just a rock, it is a mountain, 6 miles wide, moving not at the speed of a bullet, but 60 times faster, a hypersonic spear, tipped not with metal, but with the condensed history of the solar system's birth. It crosses the orbit of the moon in mere minutes. On the planet below, in the late Cretaceous afternoon, a triceratops drinks from a river. A pteranodon glides on a thermal current. They do not look up. They cannot conceive of a threat from beyond the clouds. But it is coming, and it brings with it the energy of 1 billion nuclear bombs. The asteroid does not land, it arrives. It strikes the shallow sea of what we now call the Yucatan Peninsula. In the first millisecond, it compresses the water, the rock, and itself. Molecules are forced together with such violence that they cease to be solid, liquid, or gas. They become a state of matter found only in the hearts of stars, plasma. 1 second later, a flash of light, brighter than 1,000 suns, ignites the atmosphere. Every creature looking in that direction is instantly, mercifully blinded. The fireball expands, vaporizing thousands of cubic miles of rock and ocean. The shock wave moves outwards, not as sound, but as a wall of superheated destruction moving at hypersonic speeds. It flattens everything for 1,000 miles in every direction. Forests are not burned, they are pulverized into flying splinters. 10 minutes later, the true horror begins. The force of the impact blasts over 25 trillion metric tons of debris, vaporized rock, molten glass, pulverized asteroid, high above the atmosphere. Much of it is flung into space. The rest begins to rain back down. This is not a rain of stones, it is a rain of fire. Across the entire planet, the sky glows red, then white-hot. Tiny beads of molten rock streak through the upper atmosphere like 1 billion meteors in reverse. Their heat ignites the global atmosphere. Wildfires spontaneously start on every continent, in every forest at the same moment. The world is not on fire, the sky itself is fire, and it is falling. The hour after brings the waves. The impact in the shallow sea triggers tsunamis over 1 mile high. They travel at the speed of a jet aircraft, scouring coastlines thousands of miles away, dragging the shattered remains of entire ecosystems back into a churning, muddy sea. But the real killer is still to come. It is not the fire, or the wave, or the quake. It is the darkness. The debris ejected into space begins to fall back,
But much of it, the finest dust and soot from global fires, stays aloft. It forms a thick, black, suffocating shroud around the planet. For months, perhaps years, the sun is reduced to a faint orange smudge in a perpetual midnight sky. Photosynthesis stops. The great green engines of the planet, the plants, the phytoplankton, die. The temperature plummets, a global winter sets in. The food chain, a delicate ladder that started with a leaf and ended with a Tyrannosaurus rex, shatters. The giants die first. They need too much food, too much energy. A brachiosaurus could not hide from the cold, could not burrow for roots, could not wait out the darkness in a state of torpor. They simply sat down and did not get back up. Think of that silence, the last bellow of the last triceratops, the final unanswered call of a predator with nothing left to hunt. Then the wind, only the wind, blowing ash across a dead world. But this story is not just about an ending, it is also about a beginning, because life did not die. In the ruins, the small survived, the nimble, the adaptable, the ones who could live on seeds, on insects, on decaying matter burrowed deep in the mud. A rat-sized mammal, shivering in a burrow, living off buried nuts and the carcasses of fallen gods. This is the most humbling, profound lesson of the extinction. It was not a judgment. It was not the weak being replaced by the strong. It was a filter. The filter was metabolic frugality, the ability to live on very little, to hide, to wait. The dinosaurs did not fail. The world they were perfectly adapted for simply ceased to exist overnight. And in their absence, on a planet now bathed in a strange new quiet, those tiny furry survivors crept out. Their world had been emptied, and in that emptiness lay an opportunity that would, 66 million years later, lead to you watching this.
To art, to love, to wonder, and to the haunting question of whether we, too, are living in a world that could vanish overnight. For centuries, the dinosaurs were a mystery, then a clue. In the late 1970s, a scientist named Walter Alvarez was studying a thin layer of clay in Italy, marking the boundary between the age of dinosaurs and the age of mammals. He asked his father, the physicist Luis Alvarez, what could have deposited such a global, precise layer. They found something that should not have been there: iridium. Iridium is incredibly rare on Earth's surface, but common in asteroids. The layer was packed with it. The only explanation was an extraterrestrial impact. This was the first hard evidence of the visitor. Later, the crater itself was found buried under the Yucatan, Chicxulub, a wound 110 miles wide. The evidence is a geological crime scene. The iridium layer is the asteroid's fingerprint. Shocked quartz shows minerals fractured by pressures only an impact can create. Tektites, the glassy beads of molten rain, are found across the globe. Tsunami deposits of ancient wave-carried debris are found inland across the Gulf of Mexico. The verdict is in. The case is closed. We know what happened. So we are left not with a mystery of the past, but with a question for the future. Could it happen again? The answer is yes. The cosmos is still full of mountains tumbling in the dark. But for the first time in Earth's history, there is a creature looking up. We are tracking these objects. We are mapping their paths. We are, however slowly, awakening to our cosmic neighborhood. The deeper question is not about asteroids. It is about fragility. The dinosaurs were the pinnacle of life on Earth for an unimaginable length of time, and they were ended by a random rock from the dark.
Their extinction tells us that the universe is not hostile or kind. It is indifferent. It follows rules of physics, not narrative. There is no guarantee of a happy ending, no matter how grand your reign. Our world today feels solid, permanent. Our cities, our networks, our civilizations. The dinosaurs' world felt just as permanent to them. Their end is a monument to the idea that the only true constant is change, sometimes violent, sudden, and absolute. So what do we do with this knowledge? Do we live in fear? Perhaps the opposite. The dinosaurs' extinction is not a threat, it is a perspective. It is the ultimate zoom out. It shows us that our time here, however long it may feel, is a brief, bright flicker in the deep night of geological time. It makes our moments of beauty, of connection, of creation, precious. Not in a naive way, but in a deeply profound one. We are the children of the survivors. We carry within us the legacy of those small, furry things that outlasted the fire and the dark. Our inheritance is not dominion, but adaptability. Not arrogance, but awareness. We are the first life form on this planet that can understand its own past well enough to ponder its future. The dinosaurs' bones are not just relics, they are a message. Etched in stone and ash, they tell us, your world is a gift. It is rare, it is fragile, and it is temporary. See it, cherish it, protect it, while you still can. I am the Unknownologist. I look for the truths hidden in plain sight, and sometimes hidden in stone. Next time, we'll step out of deep time and into a moment we all share, the turning of the year. We'll ask a question so obvious we never think to ask it. Why do we have New Year's? We'll trace this celebration back to ancient astronomy, human fear, and the beautiful, stubborn hope of a fresh start. What are we really trying to reset when the clock strikes midnight? Until then, look closer.